Hey guys, it's Mr. Cooney all by himself in room 233 on remote Wednesday during my plan bell, and softly DJ by Inhaler in the background coming out of the viewboard as usual. And I'd like to talk through, since we're not live today, Unit 5 Poetry 2, which we start today. And this is the overview document that I've also posted for you to look at and reference when we do reader's logs and things like that. Okay, not as many different essential understandings. It's essentially divided into some things about plot and structure, some things about figurative language, which goes on for a while, and then the writing stuff, right, which is mostly just kind of moving forward and progressing in greater depth on the same types of things, writing good theses and lines of reasoning and evidence and all that stuff. Okay, back to the top. The plot and structure things we're going to look at are explaining the function of structure in a text. We've looked at this before, mainly the difference between what we call closed forms of poetry and open forms of poetry. In other words, those that have a lot of definition and structure to them and those that have less or none. And although you don't need to be able to technically label a lot of things, you do want to understand how they affect how poems work, okay? So structures combine in text to emphasize certain ideas and concepts. All right, figurative language, you have a whole lot going on here. So we'll be doing, I think, probably 2 full chapters on different types of figurative language. I want to be able to distinguish between literal and figurative meanings of words, explain the function of specific words and phrases in a text, adjectives and adverbs, and how those kind of contribute to figurative language, grammar mixing in, something called hyperbole or overstatement, can also be understatement. Next page, figurative language continued, identify and explain the function of an image or imagery. I don't necessarily consider imagery to be figurative language, but it's creative language and it can contain figurative language often. So descriptive words here, a term can be literal or can be a form of comparison as it represents a text through association of the senses. The collection of images known as imagery can emphasize ideas and parts throughout the text. We're also going to focus again on the function of metaphor, and there's several different actual skills listed here. I'm not going to read through them all. Explain and identify and explain the function of personification, which is a special type of metaphor, basically. You know what that is, when something that is not a human is made to seem like a human. And then finally, allusion. There's a small chapter we can do on allusion, which is references in literary texts to something else from history, art, another work of literature, anything like that. Sometimes those can drive a poem, as well as a poem maybe containing an occasional allusion. Okay, and then we get to the writing and we'll talk about that later. Okay, good enough, and go do that stuff. See you soon.